Hi, I'm Tanya, and after a bit of a pause, I'm back. I was actually going through my own 5 step process with my business and just really reconnecting and getting clear what it is that I'm doing, what I want to create, what needs to go, and just recalibrating and getting into a new rhythm, which means more videos more regularly. And I actually want to talk and reference my last video where I talked about why these 30-day decluttering challenges don't really work. And I really want to dive deep into an example so that you can kind of look at, well, wait a second, it's more than the tips and tricks. There's a whole other thing happening here around a person's life and all the different pieces that create clutter and chaos. So let's get started. I'd like to share a story using an example to help you understand how you can overcome this chaos and this overwhelm in your life and just really create calm and clarity and balance. And so we're going to talk about Georgia. And Georgia has a family dynamic where her and her husband are both working full time. They have 2 young daughters, and she's taking on a lot more responsibility than is hers. So, for example, doing all the groceries, most of the cooking, the errands, plus working full time and taking care of the kids. She feels overly responsible and is definitely your stereotypical people pleaser. Her husband's really stressed at work, so she feels responsible for taking on more. And that kind of creates a bit of chaos in her life. And so she's always in this state of like go, 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 sympathetic flight, and never really being able to calm down. So that brings on a lot of anxiety for her. So to cope, she uses sugar during the day to cope with that anxiety, and then a drink or two in the evening to just like unwind and settle down. She'll also use shopping as a way to kind of have that retail therapy, but also thinking, okay, if I just get these products, my life will be easier. When in fact, there's just way too much stuff in their home. The closets and cupboards are just crammed with things because it just gets to be too much. There's never that process of letting go. And so when we look at someone's life like this, like Georgia, you might relate in some ways, in some aspects of her life. What's really going on? Well, for one, there's a big what if. What if I let this go and then I need it? What if this happens? If I don't do this, what if? So it's not just about the belongings, it's also about that fear of the future and then trying to manage everything and do everything to keep yourself safe and to try and like manage chaotic situations doesn't work. And the other thing that she does is these quick fixes. So having like, energy drinks and finding different powdered drinks that will give you more energy and help you feel better. And, if you're skipping meals, you can have this drink. Those are quick fixes. They're not going to address the underlying problems that are going on. And so then people will buy products to try and solve a problem, both in their physical space, but maybe even with their diet. And it doesn't help. It doesn't actually address, because then it's just spinning, 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 doesn't work. And then you use half the jar and it just sits there. And then along with this, she also has a belief of not having enough time. Now, with that kind of schedule, I can see that. However, it's how are you spending your time? How are you choosing to spend your time? If you're choosing running around and doing everything for everybody else, watching a bunch of TV at night, to unwind because it's just too much and like you're completely spent, that cycle is just going to keep on going. And also this mentality of needing to do it. So overall, if we were to look at this particular example, there's an attachment to what if, there's an attachment to a belief that, nobody else can do it or I don't have enough time. And there's also this sense of like needing to manage because no one else will do it and not being able to let go of perfection and just letting people do things in a different way. So now I want to walk you through a 5-step process to kind of see how you could apply this to your life. I've done some videos and I'll put them in the description on my 5-step process, but today I wanted to give you a really good example of some attachments that I've seen over the years, how they affect a person's life, and what you can do about it to change. Because it's not, again, physical clutter. It's about addressing your whole life. And to do that, let's say there's 3 phases. The first phase would be get your life in order. 2 would be really establish good habits and routines and getting into a rhythm. And then 3, that third phase is really about doing the deeper work. Finding out, well, why are you a people pleaser? Because you can change a bunch of habits and routines, but if you don't do that inner work, that people pleasing is just gonna pop right back up. So let's start with the 5 steps. So the first one in this case is values. And for Georgia, it could be family, contribution, and her really wanting to have balance. So she's stepped back and she's kind of assessed, this is what I want. It's really important to me to contribute to my job, to my community, to my family, but I need balance. And I want to have more connection time with the whole family. And so overall, it's being able to shift and create more work-life balance. In the spaces, overall goal, well, more intentional with belongings and just keeping it super simple. And same with time, spending less time doing things for others, more time on self-care, and more time doing the things that she loves. So really letting go of doing everything on her own. And then getting that balance for her is really about, okay, I need to solidify my sleep routine. I need to solidify my health routine. And so for her, it would be doing a really thorough inventory of her overall health, nutrition, and what needs to change around that. So we've gone from chaos to getting some anchors of family, contribution, and balance. And then what are the areas in her life that she wants to look at? Well, her time, her space, and her health. Those are the 3 main areas. Now, keep in mind that resistance will come up. And I've mentioned this in other videos. We have that homeostasis, our body and our brain and our mind and everything just wants to stay the same. If you try to make a big change from your day-to-day set point, your subconscious is going to be like, no, you're going back. So keep in mind that that also brings up a sense of unsafety when we're trying to change. So doing it incrementally or with a ton of support and like huge support system, you could go quicker. Accountability buddies needed. So there's a lot of pieces that are required, but if you're just trying to do it on your own, you're gonna come up with more resistance and then it's just gonna be harder. And then that brings up the shame and then, oh, I can't do this. So really be mindful that this isn't just like, okay, I'm gonna clean up and my life's gonna be easier. There are gonna be aspects that are challenging. The more support you can get, the better. And the more anchors you can have, the better. So just before we continue. And so next part is step 3, release. So we did the connection, the creating. Now it's time to let go. And in this case, because she's focusing on health, that would be, we need to get the kitchen in order, get rid of all the garbage, junk food, all that, and just the knickknacks and all the little gadgets and gadgets that we're not using. And for her to do it with the family. That would be ideal because then they're involved, because that way they're going to be involved in the future. And then part of the release process is for her to let go of feeling responsible for others. Because if she doesn't do that, things won't change, okay? The other part is step 3, which is recalibrate and reorganize. So now that they've decluttered the kitchen, now they need to reorganize it in a way that everybody can use it easily, not just her knowing where everything is. So whatever they need to do, it could be that together they do labels so that everyone can remember as they're shifting over to having things in different places. There could be a schedule for meal prep where everybody takes one day to cook and it's clear. And then each week there's a check-in because people's schedules change. So every week they're checking in to see who's doing what and who's responsible so that she's not taking over everything. And then the next step is the rhythm. So those are where you really establish habits and routines to stay grounded and connected. And that will help her not go grab the sugar, not go grab the alcohol or the impulsive shopping. Because when we're grounded and calm and present, we don't feel like we're in danger. We don't feel this sense of urgency, like, oh, I have to fix something. Whenever there's something that comes to us, a problem, we can go, okay, let me see what I need to do. And it helps you reconnect with yourself and your emotions instead of being reactionary. So in this case, a great step that she could do is just spending 10 minutes in the morning and the evening to start doing something to connect. So maybe some journaling, a small meditation, just to start her day. And then a couple minutes throughout her work day, taking a short break, even just to close her eyes and breathe and connect with her body. Because the more we can come back to the present moment, back to ourselves, the better, because then we're less reactionary and we're acting from a place of consciousness, not our old subconscious programming that's there. And so as I mentioned, the first phase is get your life in order, which is what I just went over. The second phase is looking at the habits. So I've talked a bit about that, her having a morning and evening routine, creating a schedule around food prep, and that it's not just her, that's a new habit and routine. And other things to be integrated would be exercise and doing it in a way where you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. She's got 2 kids, what's she gonna do? Bring them to the park and do laps around the playground while they play. There's so many ways that you can get creative. And then when you're doing that, you're modeling to your children how to live a healthy lifestyle. And then they will automatically do it because they are sponges and they absorb what's around them. So the last phase is that healing. And this is really why I do the work that I do. I want to help people get their life in order so that they can do the deeper work to change. If your life is chaotic and you're going to therapy or support group or some spiritual community, but then you're going home and everything is chaotic and disorganized and there's no habits, no routines, no self-care, it's going to be hard to go within and reflect. And it's going to be hard to maybe do some exercises in therapy where you have to look at some past challenging situations. So this is why it's really good to get your life in order first while doing the inner work, because then you start seeing, oh, there's this pattern, oh, there's this subconscious belief, oh, I need to let that go. And then when things are in order, it's a lot easier to go within and release all that garbage in your subconscious mind, transform that energy in your body, and release the past so that you can be in the present and create your future. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for other videos that look at other kinds of attachments that people have, how that creates the chaos in their life, what you can do to create order so that you're in a nice rhythm to go within and heal. Remember to like and subscribe, and feel free to put comments on topics that you'd like me to cover. I'm happy to share. Take care, and until next time.